I thought about doing a little series on the Olympia that's coming up here in like 14 days from recording this. So I'm really looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback on this in particular. I'm going to provide you with a list of the athletes who are competing at this year's Olympia and who have been on the podcast. Because oftentimes around these shows, I'll get messages saying, "Have you interviewed so and so who's on this list?" And usually the answer is yes. So I wanted to curate that list, maybe share some of my thoughts too. I'm not really much for providing like my predictions, but I will be sharing who you can go back and listen to their episode or episodes because some of these women have been on more than once or have been featured in some way more than once. And I would love for you guys to just write down the ones that stand out to you or who you didn't know have been on, and then go and listen to that, especially leading into the Olympia. It's great motivation. With just a couple weeks left, it'll be awesome if like you can go back and tune in and hear these amazing women's stories because so much of what you guys know we talk about on this show is the mental side, the mental game. So to really achieve such an incredible feat as qualifying for the Olympia, stepping on that stage is amazing from athletes from all over the world, by the way. So we have Iulia, Baba, Jordan Brannon or Jay Brannon, Lauralie Chapados, Ashley Kaltwasser, Adair Libbrecht, Vania Auguste, Kerry Sexton, Lawna Dunbar, Ndeye Ndour, Chantal Hill, Jessica Wilson, Maria Acosta, Ariana Brothers, Aimee Delgado, Ashlyn Little, Yurika Noda, Tara Grier, Tianna Weymouth, Ali Vatthauer, Lauren Kralovec, Brittany Gillespie, Savannah Watchman, Corinne Hennick, and Jordan Lee. So what's really great about all of these women is not only have we done an episode with them, but they've all worked so hard and they're all so incredible. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how these women perform. I feel a real special connection to them, and it's always wonderful when you get to talk and hear their perspective, but then to see them succeed. It's been really cool to watch some of these and also to compete at some of the same shows. I actually had a really great time with Allie. I always have a great time with Jessica Wilson too. Did I say she was on this? Yeah, I did. Just making sure. I'm like, wait. You always have a great time with Jess as well. And Maria, too. I mean, I've gotten to spend some time with her since I moved to South Carolina. So there's some amazing women on this list who I've just connected with over the years. I mean, Jay, Brandon, and I, we were both in Pittsburgh also. Um, connected a little bit with Aimee at that show, but very little. I think I hadn't seen her since the women's workshop. Brittany Gillespie had come to the podcast party years ago, and it's just so wonderful too to see Corinne on this list and Jessica because they both just did the Masters Olympia. And so it's cool to see how they place because Corinne had the title passed to her from Jess. So it'll be really wonderful to see how they stack up against this lineup too. Actually, it's very exciting. I think a lot of people are probably saying that you're looking at this potentially being Aimee's year. You could potentially even argue that this could be Ashley's year again, who Ashley and I have collabed many times. So there's a lot of podcasts featuring her as well as her coach, Adam, on the show. But when I look at this lineup, I see a lot of standouts. I'm really excited for Tianna to see how she does Tianna. I always say her name wrong, and I feel so bad because me and her stay connected, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I read it differently than I know that it is. But anyways, I'm so excited for her. She's one of the most kind, genuine, down to earth people you'll ever speak to or meet, truly. I wish I could give her a hug in person. She's so sweet. She really is impressive, especially at such a young age. So I can't wait to see how she does. But we have a lot of standouts here. I'm really excited to see how Allie and Ashley look against each other this show because they had some toe-to-toe earlier this year, and Ashley ended up coming out on top. But that was a huge boost for Allie, in my opinion, and in her career. So I think that'll be special to see. And then we just saw Jay win at the Sasquatch. So And then Savannah was sharing how she is trying to perfect her tan. And at that show, she didn't place, which was so strange because her physique was probably the best it's ever looked, but her tan was off. And so, because of that, she didn't even get in the placements. And they said that her physique was so good. And that's one of the things that's a real mental game about this sport is everyone is so good that those details really do matter. So I'm really hopeful that she'll find what works for her, what works for her tan. Um, I have so many special things to say about each of these athletes. I'm thinking about Yurika. Um, I've had the pleasure of getting closer with her, and it's been wonderful to see her journey and her mental journey evolve too. It'd be great to have her back on to talk about that as well. But gosh, I could say, like I said, so many good things about all these women. I'm really excited too to see how Iulia looks at this show. I think her and Maria, they're on the shorter side. Let me see. And Vania, looking at this list, who else? Ashlyn. I think those are some of the shorter. I'm probably missing some, but I think those are some of the shorter girls. Jessica Wilson, Jess is short too. I don't think she's as short. Maria is probably the shortest on this lineup. I think she's 4'11". Um, she's a powerhouse. And you know what's interesting is she has grown a lot. And when I saw her earlier this year, she was saying how she was eating so much. She's putting on a lot of size, like she's been told to keep pushing. And then you see some other athletes who maybe they're a little taller and they've been told to not push as much or not to build as much. So I find that really fascinating how different all of our physiques can look and still meet the criteria. Of course, a lot of people are gunning for Lauralie too. It'll be really amazing to see what package she brings from the videos and content she's been posting. It's pretty clear she's coming in spot on too. And a lot of people will argue that it's difficult against some of these heavy hitters to beat them if they're at their top level. But I would argue most of these competitors on this list, that has been said about them. So it will be really cool to see what actually plays out. So again, I encourage you guys go listen to the stories of these women. They've all been on the podcast. They've all shared their insights, their journeys. Some of them were on years ago. Um, Tara was on years ago, I'm pretty sure. Aimee Delgado came on after her USA's win, believe it or not. I've had Jessica Wilson on. Jessica was one of my early guests, and she's been on since then too. So you could listen to a couple of hers. And Jordan Brannon has come on not just with her own episode, but also with her husband. We did a coaches series featuring her and her husband Drew. I enjoyed learning from them quite a bit, and I think you guys will too. So that's in the coaches series section. Vania was on a while ago. I'd love to have her back on for a return episode. She, of course, is the Bikini International title holder. So I am really eager to see how she shows up at this show. And of course, Kerry Sexton, we got to connect this year, and she's representing from the UK. Everyone else on this list is USA or Canada, and Iulia is Romania, although she lives in Florida, but she's representing Romania. So it'll be really cool to see how Kerry represents from the UK, because that's going to be really important, not just for her and to see how she is going to do it this show, but also for others in the UK and supporting that standard really being consistent across the board. I have a lot of excitement about every single woman on this list. I hope that they all bring their absolute best and that they feel great about it and confident about it. Actually, really quickly, some of these women have been on the Olympia stage more than one time. So what's really cool is in the past, I've done some Olympia series where there was a few where I did like roundtable discussions with multiple of these women. I can think Ashlyn was on that. I want to say Ndour. I want to say Jordan. Ndour's not competing this year. Jessica Wilson. So go back, listen to those too, because there's some cool insights you can gain from hearing them talk as a group. And then I've done Olympia series, and in those Olympia series, or even Arnold series, but in the Olympia series, you'll hear clips from each of them. And since so many of them have been on, so many of them have been on the Olympia stage more than once, that is, you'll get to hear it from them too. So I wanted to encourage you guys to go watch that, go listen to those. And as we kind of get closer to the Olympia, just celebrate all the hard work and success of these women. And it'll be really interesting because this is the last Olympia without fit model. So starting next year, if I'm not mistaken, next year they're going to start qualifying fit model athletes to compete at the Olympia. So um, that'll really start to this Olympia is important for bikini because I think it's going to solidify a lot of what they're doing for bikini, but then it's also important for fit model and the pro season that starts next year because my plan is to start bringing some of those fit model pros on this podcast because let's be honest, fit model is bikini and bikini has become like a league of its own. Actually, two friends of mine, Sammy Joe and Laura Morche, they did a podcast episode kind of on their thoughts on that. So I think you guys should totally listen to that if you haven't yet. That was on their podcast. So all that said, this is a really great Olympia opportunity because fit model athletes are going to get to see, or people considering fit model are going to get to see, well, what's the standard for bikini really? Like the best of the best of the best. What does that look like? And how much do I want to do to get there? Is that desirable for me? A lot of the women I've spoken to, they're like, they love that bikini's getting bigger. They love that. These are the pros that I've spoken to, that is. They love that. Then there's this other camp that's like, I'm not happy with it. I'm upset that now there's a whole separate division that's representing what bikini was supposed to uphold. So it'll be good to see the difference there. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that, your opinions, maybe even what you think, maybe even if some of these pros you could see doing the Olympia next year, but in fit model. I wonder how many of them might actually transition. I want to say most of these women are probably gonna stay in bikini. I can't imagine, just based on the size and the stature of majority of these women on this list, I can't even imagine them switching. Honestly, I can't see it for any of them. Because I think they're all such great representations for bikini as it stands, but we'll have to see what happens. I look forward to watching some of your guys' thoughts and opinions too, and hearing them from you. I hope you enjoy going back and listening to some of those episodes, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you're in the world where you're listening to this episode. Just make it awesome.